Stellantis is another automaker that has been having a tough time relative to more recent quarters in the past. And truthfully, this has been a long-going trend for the automaker, and it doesn't look good. Now, before we dive into Q1 earnings for Stellantis, let's first go over a refresher regarding their inventory situation. Because the truth is, earnings isn't the only category where Stellantis is struggling. Inventory for Stellantis has been piling up for a long time. In fact, you can see here a graph from this time last year. You can see here that while Stellantis brands aren't the largest inventory automaker, they are up there, with Dodge being in the top 10 highest inventory automakers and well above the average supply, and then we also have Jeep, Chrysler, and Ram in the top 6. That trend has continued even today because you can see here this data from March of this year, which is the most recent inventory data we have. Dodge, Ram, Alfa Romeo, and Fiat are all in the top 5 highest inventory vehicle manufacturers and have more than twice the average amount of inventory. And while Jeep and Chrysler aren't in the top 5, they are both in the top 10. So 6 out of the top 10 highest inventory automakers are all under the Stellantis umbrella. That's 60%. And you really can see the toll that this is beginning to take on automakers under the Stellantis umbrella, and we can view this by looking at vehicle incentives. From things like bonus cash offers and even some brands having 0% APR deals, which is actually an extremely aggressive incentive in this market, and finding 0% APR deals for 72 months has basically been unheard of for the last few years. And dealerships and car sellers are discounting brands from Stellantis due to the fact that they're not able to sell them. And if this wasn't bad enough for the company, just this week Stellantis reported their Q1 earnings. And Stellantis reported that revenue slipped by 12%. Year-over-year shipments were also down 10%. And when we look at global markets, the North American market is down 15%, Europe is down 6%, South America is down 7%, and China, India, and the Asia Pacific are down 46% for net revenue. The only market that's actually up year-over-year is Middle East and Africa, where net revenue rose by 13%. And when it comes down as to why this net revenue has declined in so many markets, this is what the CFO of Stellantis had to say. Net revenue comparisons were difficult due to the company's transition to a next-generation product portfolio manufactured on new platforms. And while this probably is definitely part of the equation, and what she's saying is most likely true, I can't help but think that there's also more to the equation as well. Like maybe an identity crisis of sorts. Because in the last couple of years, most of the broad appeal, affordable cars that Stellantis offered, they've been discontinued. Like the Jeep Renegade, which was Jeep's smaller, more affordable Jeep model starting below 30 grand. The Jeep Cherokee is also dead, though you can still buy the larger Grand Cherokee. Not to mention the absurd Wagoneers, which just feels like an identity crisis in itself. Is it a Jeep? Is it its own thing? And why is it so damn expensive? Dodge has also had some casualties this year, with the Dodge Durango coming to an end after 2024, as well as the Dodge Challenger, Charger, and Chrysler 300 already having come to an end. And while Dodge is releasing the EV Charger later this year, which some people, especially Dodge fans, are not excited about. And don't even get me started on Ram trucks, which are just absurdly expensive, with the Ram 1500 Classic being their cheapest model, which went from costing $32,345 for their 2023 model to $38,705 for their 2024 model. And truthfully, this is the most basic, nearly $40,000 truck I've probably ever seen. Well, I guess it isn't the most bare bone that I've ever seen, because whenever we look at other automakers, they are also selling absurdly expensive bare bone trucks as well. Because Ford also sells an absurdly expensive bare bones truck, and so does Toyota, though Toyota does feel a bit less bare bones than the others do. And for Ram, this is the cheapest truck that they offer, which is just crazy. And many Ram offerings are significantly more expensive than that, with some towing close to 100 grand, if not over it. And while Stellantis has extremely expensive vehicles across their entire lineup that are just so absurdly pricey that they're very hard to justify purchasing, at the dealership level, there actually are a lot of incentives going on, and you can find cars at a pretty steep discount, even in many cases below MSRP. So if you are someone who's looking for a Stellantis product, whether it's Jeep, Fiat, Dodge, Ram, you could probably, in fact, I can almost guarantee you that you can get a good deal. Though I guess a good deal is a bit relative depending on the make that we're talking about. Like this 2023 Wrangler Sport. While it is a 2023 model, it is brand new, and this car is selling for $7,000 below MSRP. This Rubicon, which is also selling for below MSRP, as is this one, this one, and the list goes on. And this was after like 3 minutes of searching for Jeep products that were on sale. Dodge products have a similar story. This Dodge Hornet, this Durango, another Hornet, another one, another Durango. I feel like nowadays Dodge basically only sells the Durango and the Hornet, so if you want something from that broad selection, you have plenty of below MSRP options to choose from. Fiat also has below MSRP deals, though quite frankly, not enough of a discount relative to how low in demand Fiats are. They should really be discounted a lot more than just a couple grand. We are seeing the same thing across Chrysler, with a variety of makes and models seeing below MSRP prices. And of course, we can't forget about the more luxury Stellantis brands like Alfa Romeo. Like this 2024 model that's selling for more than $6,000 below MSRP, this one that's selling for $2,000 below MSRP, or this one that's also selling for $6,000 below MSRP. Even Maserati, a brand that you wouldn't think would be quick to discount, is in fact discounting. While this one is a 2023 model, counted more than $10,000 below MSRP. This 2024 Gran Turismo that's more than $20,000 below MSRP. This limited edition Gran Turismo that's over $25,000 below MSRP, and the list goes on and on. So it's not just your normal everyday cars that Stellantis is struggling with. It's pretty much every make and model across the board. And remember those $40,000 base barebone trucks that I mentioned earlier? Yeah, don't buy those, because you can find those exact same, if not higher trim trucks that are selling for below MSRP because they have such poor demand. Like this one, or this one. All of these $40,000 trucks are selling for about $10,000 below MSRP, and I bet you could negotiate even more whenever you're actually at the dealership. The point is, Stellantis obviously has an issue, and I think that while Stellantis may blame this on new vehicles and the shakeup of their lineup, this may all be true, but I also think there's validity to the statement that it could also be due to the fact that Stellantis has shaken up their lineup so much that some of their brands just feel bare and really overpriced, because the vehicles that Stellantis still sells are very, very expensive. Not to mention the reliability issue that Stellantis has pretty much across the board across their makes and models, which is definitely an issue that they should be addressing, but they never really have. And all of this is leaving inventory piling up, and the inventory that is left is being discounted. It'll be interesting to see long-term what Stellantis ends up doing to increase their customer base, sales, and broad appeal. And I'm also really interested to see how this new electric vehicle charger ends up playing out for them, because like I mentioned earlier, the reception of this has definitely been a hit or a miss. But in the meantime, one thing is definitely guaranteed, and that is if you are someone who's looking to buy a Stellantis product, whether that's a Maserati, a Jeep, a Dodge, a Fiat, an Alfa Romeo, a Ram, these are all brands you can absolutely get a good discount with. So do not purchase them new directly from the manufacturer, and definitely shop around, because there are absolutely below MSRP prices everywhere. But like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.